This is the world of company secretaries. On this channel, you can watch interviews with company secretaries across the world. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon. Now, what is very interesting in your journey is the sugar and power. Like you said, it's little unorganized, but also very challenging. Not many will take that challenge because me, myself, being a company secretary and having so many friends and seniors, many people get such options, but they really don't take it. How did you decide from software, which is so polished, and going to a sugar industry? How did you take that decision, and how was your time there? What kind of experiences were there?
I can assure you one thing, Alok, is you will, all the company secretaries would have gone through some situation in their life, or they might go through also. Is that, you will have to take up, make or deal. So in a sense, you will have to sometimes take a hard steps or hard decisions. Sometimes organizations take, sometimes the employees will have to take. I also get calls now with my equivalent experienced people saying that, I want to quit. I want to join another company. I'm frustrated, this, that, and all. This is part of life. So you can't say that I'm all the time happy 365 days, 24/7. I think that's very incorrect to say so.
Correct.
And again, being a youngster at that point of time, at the age of 26 or 27 or so, I decided it's better to move on. So I moved on. Fortunately, the company was able to help me out. And then parallelly, there was an offer from another company from sugar and power industry. It was again a remote location far away from Bangalore, 450 or 500 kilometers away from Bangalore. I went there. They saw me. They had an interview. And they say, why do you want to come to this organization? Was the toughest question which they asked. Of course, I had attended more than 20 interviews, so it doesn't matter for me to give a truth what is to be given. So that helped me to answer them. They selected me. They gave me a job. The choice is, why did I select? The question is, why did I select this? Where I can get many other companies in Bangalore. Of course, yes. If I could wait for some more time, I will get better, deals in Bangalore also. Doesn't matter. But I somewhat felt that when there is an offer like having multiple entities, and it's a very small organization, 750 plus employees, and company secretary is not only the role of company secretary. There was a central excise, taxation, accounting, financial management. You will not believe all those things I could get, experience. So there will be some sort of dilemma in the, just now past company secretaries, that should they join a large entity as a listed entity and become an assistant CS to learn things, or should they join a smaller company so that they will get the basket of, every other process like finance, accounts, taxation, legal, one or the other process. For that matter, one of my friends is also handling head HR. So you never know what kind of roles that you will get into when you join a small organization. So I felt that that's a better option to learn, because it's the most complicated industry. When it comes to liquor, beverages, it is highly regulated entity. And when it comes to sugar, again, it is regulated by, but a little bit of politics also there, because there's a lot of farmers involved. Every sugar factory takes care of, I think, to my understanding, 15,000 plus farmers.
Oh.
So plus 700 to 800 employment. And it is only seasonal, like only 6 months in a year it works, another 6 months it doesn't work. So it was highly unorganized. And you can't have the systems, processes, rules all the time functioning for you at your level. Back then it was not possible. Today it's possible because you have technology to monitor and all that. Earlier it was not the case at all. Having mobile phone itself back then in office itself was a privilege. That too feature phone, not this smartphone and all that. So given that situation, managing all those processes was quite interesting. The boss, the owner of that factory, could quickly grasp my what I can do, what I cannot do. Immediately started giving me all the jobs. And finance, accounting, taxation, balance sheet management, going to the banks to prepare project reports, expansion reports. Everything was given to me. So in order to prepare, there was an expansion project going on. They wanted to expand the plant. So they said, oh, DPR preparation is done by one of the technical evaluation companies. They usually call it TEVs, technical evaluating companies like Midcon and all that. But when they prepare the notes, when they prepare these project reports, you will have to read it. So I had an experience in degree for preparation of project reports. I had an experience of preparing in master's degree preparation of project report. So I could get what is the meaning of project report. So read everything, but not only reading, understand the process, what sugar factory is all about, how much sugar cane goes in, how much will come out as sugar, how much will come out as bagasse, how much production of power can happen, where you can save, how much money you can make. See, for example, when you see the DPR, the detailed project report is given to the banker. The banker will come for an inspection when they want to give you a loan. Who will explain to them? So either the finance head has to explain, technical team has to explain. But actually, I'm very fortunate to say the boss gave me such kind of a liberty, saying that you go on to explain. Every time a banker came, I used to take them around to the entire plant, explain them pin to pin process. They used to ask me, what is this process? Why do you have such a big silo? Why do you have this machine? Why don't you have this? He was already experienced, but he wants to ask me questions. So it's a sort of an interview. So as soon as he knows, okay, there is a key managerial personnel who knows the process. So the fundamental is not only after joining the company secretary as doing your secretarial function, you should also know the business in which you are. You should digest the business so that you should be able to provide your support services whenever it is required. You never know which opportunity will come and knock your door for which process or which head. So we need to know the processes. So it's not only about knowing the laws and compliance, but also about the business. If we do not know the business, and if we do not know the expectation of the bosses or the business owners under whom we are employed, it becomes a bit difficult because their expectation is profit management. Your expectation is to compliance management. So there is a trade-off between both. And you see a lot of, even in newspapers also, you see a lot of failures in large organizations happening. You see failures in small organizations. You see successes happening in smaller organizations multiple times. In the recent past, there are a couple of IPOs which have, today their tradability is multiple X times. You can't even imagine at what rate they have gone through. So these are all things which the industries will go through, but it's all about the bosses and their expectation plus the compliance aspect. So they're learning the finance, taxation, central excise. Back then, we didn't have this GST concept.
Correct.
There was such a complicated process of central excise and customs. So central excise has had n number of notifications applicable for us. We had to defend them. There are a lot of notices coming up. We had to answer them. We had to give a draft reply. Of course, there will be consultants, but every other notice, it used to be on my table saying, they used to write saying, CS, underlined for your information. So everything, it comes to me only for reading, see that what answer I can give. It makes a lot of learning. So accept what comes, you'll be able to gain more.
Yeah, I think another thing which is really interesting is that, like you were telling, if you are ready, you can take a multiple opportunities, because the last thing somebody would think is a company secretary knowing about the business and even explaining the detailed project report at the plant to the banker. So if you are ready, the opportunities will knock. I think that message is very clear for us. So now that you have worked in IT, then a wonderful experience in a sugar industry, which has different kinds of role, and also you told you did not just secretarial but everything under the sun, which is finance or banking and all that. Then when we talk about this, when was that time when you made a shift to banking industry, which is a huge step in your career?
Again, it's another, I would say there was, I wanted to take a break because it was I had roughly about 2.5, 3 years experience back then in the sugar factory. I had a lot of varieties of experiences, varieties of process related experience. But I wanted to come back to Bangalore, reinstate myself, and I took a risk of coming back. So I took a break for some time, and finally there was an offer from this present organization for a secondary role, and I took that role to learn about banking. So I was looking for multiple roles. For example, basically I was looking for a back then, again today also, the one of the important industries today is biotechnology. I was looking for some sort of industries to join, or chemical industry. These were my areas to look for, because I had some knowledge about, I already gained a knowledge about, sugar power distillery, how the distillery, how the production works, how the liquor is generated, produced, and how it's bottled, how it's sold, what is the supply chain management. So I wanted to go a little bit further. So I took a risk. I came back to Bangalore, waited for some time to see some companies. But then when this offer came up, then I took this offer, the secondary role to banking. With the only intention is to see that banking will have a lot of such industries coming up for loans. So we would get to know what the businesses are. See, my crux in way of looking at the job is no businesses. NOW, know the businesses. That is an important factor as a company secretary. So we need to know businesses, then only we can support or give our support as a compliance officer. Of course, there is a mandate requirement for the companies. We have the cost to the companies if you're taking care of only as a company secretary. But knowing businesses is more important for us to give our better services. So that's one reason which fueled my idea that okay, I want to join this bank, and I joined. And for first 5 years, I learned a lot of things under my boss. He was a nice guru for me. He taught me a lot of things, and the software company was MNC, so they had system-driven system-driven sort of activities. The second phase was sugar and power industry, 50-50. And when I came to banking, it was more of process-driven. There is an RBI circular, you need to follow it. So you have some framework. It's not only about systems, but also there is a process. So a lot of processes were driven. You need to work towards compliance to those RBI circulars. So we are regulated by multiple regulators. One is Reserve Bank, one is Companies Act, another one is SEBI, because we are listed. So during the process, I could gain a lot of experience about what processes are, why there is so much of importance for process. Because the industry is such, the process is important. Sometimes it looks longer or lengthy, but it is in order to protect the entire system, the processes have been implemented. We have to follow them. In promoter-based companies, you can expect some sort of shortcuts. But in financial entities or banking, there are no shortcuts. We have to follow the process. We have to go through the process. So that I could learn.